Hello, everybody, and welcome to this session, which is about fashion education. It is called The Future is Last Night, What Lessons We Have Learned. And we're going to look in this session at subjects such as sustainability, social responsibility, the creation of virtual clothes. And we're also looking at subjects such as, do fashion students need to know about business in their studies as well? So before we start, I'm going to introduce you to our illustrious panel that we have here this evening. First, I'd like to introduce you to Danilo Venturi, who is the director of Polymoda in Florence. So if you could say hello, Danilo.
Hi, nice to meet you all.
Then we have Gloria Varamundo, sorry about that, artist, art director and founder of Kampala Fashion Week, board director of Fashion Council Uganda, Kampala, Uganda. So hello, Gloria. You'd like to say hello? Hi, Gloria.
Thanks for having me. Hello to everyone.
Next, we've got Barbara Franchin, who's the founder and director of ITS, the International Talent Support Trieste. Hello, Barbara.
Hello,
everybody. I can see that. Yes. Hi there. Then we have Burak Kakmak, who's the co-founder of the Digital Fashion Group in London. Hi, Burak.
Hi, how are you?
And next we have Anna Cherenik, who's the CEO of Fresh Blood, Development and Support Project for Young Designers, and also head of the design workshops, curator of the fashion design course at the British High School of Art and Design in Moscow. So, hello, Anna.
Добрый вечер, коллеги. Добрый вечер.
Good evening, colleagues.
And then we have Jackie Andrews Udall, who is a sustainability in fashion expert and also works on the fashion course as a sustainability expert at St. Martin's. So hi there, Jackie.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be with you. Thank you for inviting me.
So we've got lots of questions for you. So we're going to start off about looking at sustainability, actually. So the question is, should sustainability and social responsibility, e.g. inclusivity, be part of compulsory fashion education today? And should it be part of the global fashion education agenda, or actually even in the fashion world itself? So I'm going to ask, first of all, I'm going to ask that question to Danilo.
Hi. Well, of course, the answer is yes. But I can tell you also that we already introduced sustainability in our programs 5 years ago or even more. So now the technicality of sustainability is already there. It's acquired also because, as you probably know, Polymoda is right in the middle of a big center of production, luxury production in Florence. And so technicalities are well known. I think what we should teach as a further step is the mindset, because sustainability comes from the side of the producer, and fine, we are teaching it, but it also comes from the side of the consumer. Sustainability is about, in my opinion, knowing who you are, because it's a mindset. If you know who you are, you know also what you want to buy, and most probably you reduce the quantity of what you buy because you exactly know what you buy. So from the side of the consumer, sustainability is, in my opinion, the half of the thing, So this is something that we have to teach, and it's not only, teaching sustainability as a topic, as a module even, or even as a course, because we have a course, a master course in sustainability, but it's really, growing students in a way that they exactly know who they are. They have a personality and then don't have, let's say, how to say, I'm trying to find the right words, but at a certain point I have to say it. If they have crap in mind, they produce crap. If they don't, they maybe not produce it.
Okay, thank you. Gloria, what would you like to add to this conversation?
I mean, yeah, those points are very valid. And it's adding from that, I feel I'm an example of having myself luckily been guided to really focus as much as I was a designer to focus and get a course also in marketing and business. But at the time, no one was supporting or telling me to do that. They're like, if you're a designer, you follow design, and fashion, marketing, and business are for the people who are going to manage you and everything. And because I fortunately chose my own direction, because coming from a developing nation, I already knew that the availability in more Western worlds was not available back home. So I had to be more things for myself if I was going to succeed, starting from a very infinite space. But I found that it guided me tremendously, because not only was I conscious of what I was creating and having the ability to then embrace my heritage, because I was based out of my country, but then at the same time having a business mind and testing the waters, like even as much as I was scared, I had to know I have to try. And that for me then helped me to further my own brand and my experiences. So I really do think that those things are so important. And definitely within my own businesses, such as the Fashion Council and Kampala Fashion Week, we've been promoting the sustainability for the last 7 years with all the designers that we work with. So, and seen such a growth also in fashion businesses based locally. So it completely works.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. Barbara, what would you like to add to this story?
Yes, I think it's, I want to say yes, compulsory to study sustainability in larger point of view. What we observed in this, I can say 6 or 7 years, is that the consciousness of sustainability is very change a lot the meaning for the students. So at the beginning, I think 5, 6 years ago, they were focused on what company can do. Now they are focused on what they can do, they by themselves. Because we normally ask a lot of questions in our application form, more than 600, 700, 1,000 people apply to the ITS contest every year. And so every year we ask many questions. One of these questions is related with sustainability. So we has been able to understand how the consciousness changed in this year. Now the students are conscious that it's something that must be done from everyone. So sustainability means a social responsibility for everyone. To teach sustainability is not so easy. We need to understand that the students has limited technical instruments to develop a process that must be thought in a bigger scale. So what they can do is to try to understand how to build a new material for sure, how to apply the upcycling in the real way, but they need to talk with the industry, because to change really the process of production it's a bit complicated. So it's not just a student can solve problems or big problems. They can be conscious, they can project, they can start to think in a sustainable way, but it's a long process. This is my opinion. But they are experimenting a lot. What we received this year is incredible. Material, fabrics done with everything, colors done with everything. So they are experimenting a lot. But now the experimentation is just one by one. It's individual. Okay, it's an individual process. It's not something that you can apply in an industrial way.
Oh, thank you very much. Burak, what's your opinion on this subject?
I think we're definitely seeing opposing trends going in some ways into the future, and these are going to define how it's going to influence each other. One of them is clearly industry is speeded up so much that now we have in some brands 52 collections a year. Every week we're getting new product. And that's on the mass market side. But even the luxury brands, they don't do 2 seasons, 4 seasons anymore. They're doing a lot more. On the other hand, the current growing consumer base, which is Generation Z, Generation Y, which is also the element that's engaged with primarily with education, is being trained in a very different way. Just like Daniela and Barbara said, we have done a lot of work in academia to change curriculum, so the technical information is there. And now it's the moment of building a new culture. And we are seeing that differentiation happening, especially as graduates from schools are becoming not only the new consumer, but the new creatives. They are pushing for a different way of doing things. So it's becoming a much more networked ecosystem of small brands that is trying to do new business models, innovations with smaller quantity that are sustainable. At the same time, we're seeing the larger brands trying to figure out how to continue to grow by selling more and more and more. So sustainability is definitely something embedded into the future, both on the business side as well as in education. I think with the younger generation really growing the culture that they are pushing forward is going to influence a more positive change to the future, where we're going to see probably better alternatives to the issues that we are facing in the larger side of the industry. So it's more than anything a tipping point.
Thank you very much. Anna, how do you see this question?
Спасибо большое.
Thank you so much for having me. I would like to change gear and to shift the focus of our discussion. At the British High School of Design, of Art and Design, we view sustainability in terms of social and corporate responsibility. We've been promoting this topic for 6 years, and at our fashion design course, we have a compulsory model on inclusive design or inclusivity in design. And we had models with the Down syndrome, people who are in wheelchairs, blind people, people with disabilities. And this spring, when the pandemic broke out, we crossed the borders. We worked with patients of Moscow Hospice. This is end-of-life care and the Moscow Palliative Care Center. So it definitely helps us to explore a new customer base, but it also allows our students to realize that their audience is much broader than they could have imagined, than the audience that is being dictated by the glossy magazines. It broadens your horizons. It's a wake-up call. Design is a tool that can change a lot in the lives of the people. And personally, I see a path to sustainability in this area.
Thank you, Anna. That's really, really interesting. And Jackie, what would you like to bring to this subject?
Hi, well, I think I was really touched by what Anna just said. I think in our case, we've had some students come out who probably have been who've had the most interesting projects, who actually are not aspiring to work for a brand. And that's maybe one of the biggest changes, is seeing that, in fact, a lot of students before, and the way we taught them and we sort of put this business model to them was, that most of them were aspiring to work for a luxury brand based in Paris. And, a lot of students still do stick to that classical path, but it was nice to see that many of them are finding different ways and actually, want to work in Africa and finding inspiration for fashion in totally different places, not just from the luxury houses. So I think that's sort of what's happening, is that, it's at CSM, we've had a sustainable innovation hub going for quite a long time now. And a lot of students have come out who have entered the houses and are now driving sustainability within them. I mean, I also work for Clerici Tessuto, and you can see that the studios coming in are informed by the younger generation. So we're finding that the Gen Z graduates who are going out, who are joining the studios, are actually informing the studios. So it's really important to drive our education forth, because our graduates are actually going to change the system, and they're already changing the system. I mean, there's a lot more coming in terms of sustainability requests, because the studios are charged up with young people who've gone through, who've had methodology. I mean, our generation had absolutely no methodology in sustainability. I know that when I was working at Stella, we were actually exploring sustainability. Now you've got several years of graduates who've come out who have sustainability methodology incorporated into their knowledge, but it all has to change. It's changing all the time. I mean, the standard methodology of just looking at zero waste pattern cutting, upcycling, using dead stock, it all has to be re-questioned with the fact that figures were coming in from the recent UNEP report, which say that we now fashion employs 86 million people, and only 2 of them earn more than the living wage. Sorry, 2%. What am I saying? Only 3. 2% earn more than the living wage, but 2%, that's the living wage. So we have to address the social side, and therefore our education of sustainability has to actually totally change. It was very much environmentally driven, and I think now the social side has to come up to speed. That's I think where we need to kind of evolve in the way we teach sustainability. We're very much behind when it comes to the social side. We've explored the environmental side more than anything.
Thank you very much. I think we've got some really interesting comments there. Our next question is, should the creation of virtual clothes, with some working in 3D editors such as Clo, for example, should this be part of a modern fashion education? Should it be compulsory? Why? Why not? Okay, so I'm going to ask this question first to Gloria. Okay.
Yes, I mean, I understand why people maybe would argue on the sense of like less waste, because everything's being done on a laptop and being saved compared to maybe the old sense of sketching and stuff. But definitely because I work with all tiers, variety of tiers of levels of where someone's education is, from individuals and artists who are coming from the village to town areas to then a city, and what they're been exposed to and how you kind of bring them up to tier. Unfortunately, we still do need the method of not 3D design. And I feel that it's needed maybe in all areas, but it's still also maybe, I feel sometimes a pressure where we feel like, okay, if we want to participate with more developed and Western brands, we have to evolve this technology. And sometimes, I don't know, I'm in a space where I'm thinking what's more important at this time. And for me, sometimes it's still skills and everything rather than, okay, a 3D, which involves computer and technology, which are pricey. And there's other things that we still need to attain to get our development of our production going. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that point of view. Barbara, what would you like to add to this discussion?
Yes, I think that they need to study, to have more information, to have to study the digital side of fashion in terms of production, but not only that, also in terms of communication, especially. But without to forget the direct dimension of the touch of the clothes is something that you wear. Fabrics is something that you touch. So I understand that can be an interesting tool. For example, if you have to upcycling different pieces and you can combine the pieces in a good way, But touch is important. It is important. Yes.
Okay. Moving on to Burak. What's your thoughts on this, on the 3D virtual clothes?
Yeah, I mean,
in education.
The truth is, it's already happening. Gaming has done it, filming has done it, fashion designers haven't been involved in it. And that actually created a lot of complication for anybody doing it from a technical perspective alone, without the understanding of the fashion context and also how the physical clothes work. So there is absolute demand from both the gaming and filming industry to begin with, but there's also interest in taking it to new places. So this creates an opportunity for fashion graduates to apply the skills around what fashion design is and translate it into a digital platform. There is a need for using digital-only clothes, so I absolutely feel like it has to be a core part of what fashion designers drive. That's not taken away from the need for doing physical clothes, because we are still living in physical world and we will continue to dress ourselves. But I think if the fashion designers don't expand into that space, it'll be taken over by other industries. So why not encourage our designers to think more broadly?
Thank you. And Anna, in your experience from the school in Moscow, how do you see this working with the 3D, the fashion tools?
На курсе мы уже 3 года практикуем.
We've been practicing technology for 3 years now. We have this SUPER model and Claw 3D application. I believe there's huge potential in it. And in the past 6 months, we've seen that coming to fruition because all of the creative teams were forced to work in a remote way. And I believe that's a good way to continue to keep up our good work. We can continue our interaction, continue our work, to do virtual prototypes and to develop your collection without stalling, without stopping your work. That's one thing. And on the other hand, sales mechanisms are changing, and that forces production to change. Everyone wants to buy here and now. Everyone wants to design and produce here and now. And we need to rethink the entire production cycle, the production chain. And 3D modeling allows you to cut down on the footprint, on the carbon footprint. And it allows you to make custom-made, tailor-made products. So you come up with a collection, and in a couple of days, the customer would be able to get it, to order it, and get it custom-made.
Thank you, Anna. And Danilo, how is it with Polymoda and 3D virtual clothes creation?
Well, actually, I'm going back to the last 3 graduation shows we had in Polymoda that usually takes in June. So first we had Tell Me About You, and it was about inclusivity. Separate Collection was about sustainability. And the last one before COVID was Supernature. And it was already tapping into this even before, because we introduced 3D design, and so our students can use now 3 techniques, which is draping, pattern making, or 3D. And we don't really care if the envisioning or what the design comes from one technique or another. But I do completely agree with Burak, and also, we all said at a certain point, clothes must be worn. And so the envisioning, the design, pure design is something, and the finishing of the garment is something else. It has to fit, it has to stay on the body. And if we think about fashion and what fashion is, well, fashion is about who is doing what to whom. So senses are involved there. So you cannot completely think virtually. I can tell you also, here again, we have a different point of view from adults and Gen Z, because the same way we still talk about sustainability and Gen Z gives it for granted, the same as with technology. So we are coming from a generation where technology was adopted, so it's a tool, while the Gen Z generation lives in it. You know, they completely, I mean, their house is the home, but when we say home, we say homepage, not even. It's social media, and it's all about that. So what we think is the future for them is the past. I can tell you, during the first lockdown, so last March, we asked our students to choose if they wanted to go virtual, so to create a movie in June for their graduation show, not a film movie, because everything was impossible at that time. I don't know who was in Italy knows very well that we had the army on the streets, you know, so it was all closed. It was even impossible to film anything, you know. It had to be virtual, complete like a cartoon. So we asked them if they wanted to do that or just postponing the physical fashion show, and they said in majority, big majority, they said we want to postpone, but the fashion show must be real, in person, you know. So one thing is filming, which has something real inside. One thing is completely virtual. One thing is the entire design comes from virtual instruments, which we provide, obviously. And one thing is if the envisioning is virtual on your iPad, but then the finishing, the making is physical. So yeah, it's quite complex, but I think as adults, we have been a bit left behind because Gen Z is much, more advanced, and most probably what we think is advanced for them is the past, and vice versa.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We've just now got a couple of minutes left. So very quickly, I'm going to ask all of you the next question, which is, do you think fashion students need to know more about business, fashion management, PR, social media? So if you can all very quick fire answers. First of all, to Barbara.
Yes, I think they need to learn more, to understand more. As Burak told before, and the other people are talking about this new way for the new designer to build their career. Now they are going through the factor that they will have a small showroom, small studio. They will work by their own self. They will be the chief of their self. So yeah, so they need to know it.
Okay, Burak?
Yeah, I think quickly you need to understand how all of these aspects of the industry work, but you cannot do everything because there are a lot of technical knowledge. So it's about creating the network that's going to support you. And that starts in school, and that also highlights the value of education. In school, you're able to find these partners to be able to do amazing creative work most of the time for free, and then build on that to build your brand as well.
Okay, and we've just got very, very short time left, so I'm very sorry we're running out of time, but thank you all so much. It's such a shame we didn't get to the bottom of all these questions, but hopefully maybe you will get a chance to have another session so that we can actually get through this, because there's just so much to talk about along this subject. And so I'd just like to thank all of you for this session. So thank you, Daniela, Gloria, Barbara, Burak, Anna, and Jackie. And thank you very much for this. And thank you very much. And
thank
goodbye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.